All right, welcome back, everybody, to another show of Flyway Connections. Today, I'm here with my two hosts, Joe and Joe. But today they're gonna go by Joe and Meyer. So, Joe.
Hey, how you guys doing today? Super glad to have Myers as a co-host again. Hopefully, when time presumes, we make this a permanent thing. But our main attraction today is someone that I look up to personally in the waterfowl community. The owner of Bayou Beast, Dale Borderland. Hey, how you doing today, Dale?
Doing good, doing great. Great to be on, man. Great to be talking with y'all.
Hey, thank you. It's always good to talk waterfowl, especially in the off season, to get us through these summer days.
I mean, it's actually really good too, as far as talking to somebody with the experience that you have, Dale. Especially for somebody like me who didn't grow up waterfowl, and so I'm actually pretty excited about this conversation. Kind of a little interested about to see how you got how y'all waterfowl back in the day. Before I was a speck in my father's eye or whatever, but
yeah.
Myers, did you have anything?
Yeah, no. Hey, Dale, just, I checked you out, chatted about you with Joe Sparrows and Chris here, man. Super excited to have you on, and fellas, glad to be back. Thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem.
Hopefully we can get you stayed on.
But it's an honor to be here. Honor to be on here.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. So let's go ahead and get it started. So I actually had a question. This was something spontaneous for me, anyways, because as a new waterfowler, I was kind of intrigued about the whole wood decoys. Now I know I'm talking to Joe here. That was the way decoys were made back in the day. I mean, you used water jugs, or at least from my understanding, he said people use water jugs and paint them, or they'd use wood cork or wood decoys. Now, as far as your decoys, so do you sell any of your decoys, or it's just personal use?
Well, no, I don't sell them. I've been making decoys about 30 years, and on and off. And I have sold some to people, give some to friends and all, but what I have left now, I have about 30 decoys, and some are 30 years old, and I got them in my call shop on a display. And when I hunt with them, I just take them down and go hunt with them. But no, those I'm gonna pass them down to. I got two boys I hunt with, and I have some grandkids, so I'm not gonna sell none of those. They'll be passed down to them. They made out of cypress root. The majority, 90% of them, cypress root that I found myself in the swamps hunting. I never bought nothing no blocks to carve. I find all my roots. When I'm hunting, I'm looking for that. So when I find that, bring it home. My goal is to make these decoys like my ancestors did. Not buy nothing like they did late 1800s, 1900 era. So I personally find my own decoys. I make my own lead. I got my own mold. So it's to keep it. That's part of my heritage, and I'm going to keep that going like that. And I like to make some more, but I don't have the time right now with all these duck calls I'm making.
Yeah, I'm flying off the shelves.
But I have enough to hunt with. I mean, but they're just gawning decoys, no feather burns, nothing. They made like these people made them 100 years ago out of necessity, not to say, hey, look how pretty this is. That was a tool for them back then. That's kind of how I'm doing it, same way.
Yeah, and I guess I was the only reason I was asking, because I was curious, because I honestly I was thinking, hey, maybe I can carve them myself. But there has to be some type of technique in there, looking for the right type of wood for the decoys. And I was like, well, maybe he sells them. I mean, I could buy on the website or something. But it was just a question of mine. Now, do you have a tutorial on how to make those decoys?
Well, I'll tell you what. I've watched some elderly people growing up, and everybody. I'll just take a hatchet and shape out a block of wood. Now, if I find a block of wood, it's small, that's how they done. I'll make a teal with it or a wood duck. If it's a big block, I'll make a goose. Mostly mallards or big ducks with it. but I just shape it out. I don't have no patterns. And most of these old timers didn't have no patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Some did. I have some patterns, but I mostly just iron it up myself. Now, I'll make a decoy slot hair bigger than a natural duck. That's how most of these are, just for presentation. When they're looking at them from the air, I want something to stand out a little bit. That's my personal way of doing it. But I have no way of. You just gotta take a hatchet. I take a saw, round off the corner, and take a hatchet, just rough it out like that. That's pretty much how I do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and then send you a picture. Hopefully you don't. That's not even gonna come out looking like a duck. Probably come out looking like block of trash or something.
Now look, they got books, and you can buy the blocks. And most people have patterns, and with big band saws, you can cut it out. It's not hard, but I don't do it that way. It's too easy. It's not old fashioned. I like the old way of doing things.
Yeah, you want to keep that purity in it.
I want to keep that old. I don't want to have no tools involved, because when I kill a duck on it, it means 100 times more doing it the old way.
Oh yeah,
it's very appreciable.
Hey Dale, kind of while we're on that topic, from the looks of it, you're quite a craftsman. It's not necessarily just about the decoys, right? Can you talk about some of the other like hunting gear that you carve? Like specifically, I'm going to butcher this, but your
Piros.
Piro. Yeah. Can you talk about and the blind that you hunt out of as well? It looks like you made all of it yourself.
I'll make everything. Yeah. The dugout Piros go back when the French, I'm 100% French, and my people come to Louisiana in the 1720s on my daddy's side. Here's my grandma and grandpa, both sides. In 17 Mayas and Barglons. You can look it up. My mama's people went to grandma and grandpa, they come from France, but went to Canada. She spoke French and can understand my dialect. So I got it all kind of ways. And my people, my dad's people is what they call, it's a Creole French. It's not Cajun, but I do have some Cajun blood. It's a line, LeBlancs and Swallows. I have a bloodline in me. It's all mixed up, so I'm pretty much all French. But getting back to it, when the French people came to Louisiana, the Indians was making dugouts already, but they would make like a 30-foot boat pirogue out of a cypress log.
Oh.
And then they would burn the inside out. They would make a boat to put, 10 people, 5, 10, 8, whatever.
Oh.
So the French people saw that they had blacksmiths. So they just shortened the boat to like 12, 14 foot, make a one-man pirogue. And they had tools that the blacksmiths made, and they hauled them out. They, cut out. And that's how I do it. And they started doing that in around 1780, the French people.
Wow.
And they made dugouts probably till 1930. And that kind of played out because the big trees was cut with the industry, the logging industry. They started going to plank boats, boards. There was no, but I found some big trees. I've made 4 dugouts already. Wow. And I have 3 here, and that's what we hunt with. And I accumulated the tools, and what I didn't, I made my own tools. And I visited some old people that used to do this years ago, and they taught me how. So, and I took it and I ran with it, and I hunt with my own dugout pirogue now with my handmade decoys, and it really, really adds to the hunt. I love it. I got a big blind. I park that boat right next to the blind where I'm sitting. If I got a crippled duck, I'll jump in that boat and I chase it down.
Yeah.
And I love it. That's another big part of my heritage. And my first boat I built, it wasn't that wide. And I had a fella did an article in a magazine, Hunting and Collectibles magazines. Mm-hmm. And a rich man from Kentucky saw that. He wanted to buy that boat. I said, it's not for sale. And he hauled back and forth, and it was It was a little unstable. So I told my wife, I think I'm going to sell it to him. That way I can build me another.
There you go.
So I sold it to him for $3,000.
Oh, wow.
And he had a big hunting lodge, and he brought us up there hunting. Well, I went and bring him the boat, and it was a good trip. He put that boat. He wanted to hang it upside down to display a Louisiana dugout. So it went to a good cause. I took my boys. We killed a bunch of ducks. So anyway, I built me 3 more since then, and we hunt with them all the time. They're very nice boats.
That's amazing,
nice.
Man.
So as far as what Myers was saying, as far as and I didn't even see this. He kind of researched a little bit more than I did on that. So your blind, did you build that all? How'd you go about building that blind or your little setup you had out there while you're hunting?
My big blind. While I hunt that lake fluctuates about 4 or 5 feet with the water. I used to have a big blind before that, in the ground with posts, but when the water's low, it sticks up so much. And we would kill ducks about halfway through the season. And then they would pick it out too good. So I built me I came up with this new blind's a floating blind. And so it sits real low in the water, and I stuck it in the buttonwoods, and I put moss, buttonwoods, and vines, and you can't pick it out. We killed ducks to the last day of the season. It's so hidden. That a lot of people have blinds. I learned that myself, not quite in the right. I didn't move the blind 5 feet, made all the difference in the world. Gotta have that in a good hidden location, the sun behind your back. Got to be brushed with the same stuff that your surroundings. It's just more to building a blind. But this blind, it's a 4-man shooting gallery. I got 2 boys and my best friend, and I got a good back. We could go in there and get warm and sit down, lay down, whatever. It's a nice blind.
Nice. So and you're kind of when it comes to waterfowl, everything you do, you make by yourself. So, and then there's the decoys. The duck calls I saw that you were making. I actually definitely want to somehow get my hands on one of them. But how did you start into duck calling or duck call making?
I bought my first duck call was a Fox, and I remember as a young boy smelling in the barrel all the time. I loved it was cedar. And while I hunt, I'd smell in it and bust it. But I just loved it.
Yeah.
And it was all right. But I tried to build me a call years ago. This was 30 years ago. That would sound like I wanted. And that's very difficult.
Yeah.
When you get to that soundboard. But anyway, to make a long story short, I bought me a lathe and I built some calls. I sold some calls, but I didn't like that too much. I sold my lathe and I quit that for a while. Then I made me some cane calls. Now, this is a long time ago. I made my own cane calls to hunt with. And then people wanted, some people wanted to buy. I couldn't make them. I just barely made me 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I had with my job and all, and I didn't want to do it then. I didn't pursue it. And then I started making some more years down the road, and people wanted them. And I didn't have the time because I had small kids and I was busy working. So what I did, I found a fella I know. I mean, he wasn't a friend. He made calls in South Louisiana. It was called chien calé. That means spotted dog in French. He made a very good call.
Very good speckle belly call.
That's right. He was famous for that speckle belly call. He did a hell of a job.
Yeah, he did.
But he had a cane call, and I went down one day with my friend, was goose hunting over there, and I never met the man. I had a cane call on my neck, and that old man, he was very forward. That old man said, "Let me hear you blow that call, son." I blew it. He said, "God dang, that sounds better than a duck." I said, "Man, I appreciate that." He propositioned me to make the soundboards for him. which I was very flattered. But I didn't have no way of doing it because the one I had was made by hand. I can't mass produce that.
Yeah.
And I told him I wish I could, but I can't. So what I did, I asked him that right there. I said, who mows out your calls? He said, son, I'm going to give you a name of a fella, and he's an honest man. That means a lot in today's world. And that's who's doing my calls now. So what I did on those bamboo calls, I send off my bamboo calls. Now, we went back 3 or 4 times. This fella molded them out for me. And I sent him my best soundboard. And it's very ducky. And that's the call I use today in my molded call. That's the call I sell. It's a cane call I had molded out, one of my best calls. And it's very ducky. It's made out of polycarbohydrate material. That's kind of in between acrylic and wood. It's a good sound. And but recently people wanted the real cane calls, so I made up my mind. I'm gonna do it. That's my heritage. I'm old enough. I want to get some of that heritage out. It means a lot to me.
Yeah.
So I built me a shop to do this, and I started. I'll go harvest my own bamboo all over Louisiana, and I started now it takes me several hours to make a call. I don't have no lathe. It's all by hand. And I had a man come to my shop a while back, a call maker. And he told me you could get a lathe man and zoom for that exhaust barrel to fit in your big barrel. I said, yeah, I could do that, but it wouldn't be handmade. I want to do it like my ancestors. So I'm going to stay on that path. It takes me 2 hours to make a duck call. And I have a 2-year waiting list as we speak.
Oh my gosh.
And
oh wow.
I'll go now and make weekend before last I made 25. That's 3 we had a Memorial Day. That's 3 10-hour days.
Oh wow.
I mean I went extra board. I can't do that every day. My goal is to make 2 or 3 a day so I don't get burnt out.
Yeah.
I do it 7 days a week. So, it's going to take a while to get a call. So people, and they have to be patient with this.
Yeah.
But it's a Louisiana cane call all by hand with a pocket knife. And that's what you're going to get. Now, you can get a cedar soundboard just like the old people, or I'll give you an option. I put that molded out soundboard. I can put your single reed and a double reed, and they both sound real good.
Oh, nice.
They're very ducky. I mean,
yeah, I gotta get my. I guess I'm gonna put my order in, so hopefully I can get mine here soon. Because I was looking at it. To me, anything that looks like that, it's handcrafted, it's beautiful. So that's just my opinion, and I think and there's some calls that Joe's buddy Stump that makes, and some of the calls he makes are beautiful as well. And to be honest, I can't duck calls to save my life, but I buy them because they look beautiful. So kind of like a little shrine for me. I try, and I'm still trying. I'll get there one day, and hopefully one day I can go out by myself and duck call instead of calling Joe over here to, hey man, record me a duck call so I can play it on my phone. But yeah, absolutely. But that's amazing. I really do. I really love hearing what y'all did back then, and it's just like any story because especially from the society now. I mean, hearing stories from my grandfather and my grandparents, and coming from a military background, hearing their stories of what they went through in different times of the military service. So it's the same thing when it comes to the waterfowl community, or even big game community, or any type of outdoors living. So. Now, for the listeners, what is there? Do you have a website or social media that they can actually find these duck calls?
Well, I don't have a website, but I'm on Facebook.
Okay.
And the name of my page is Bayou Beast Calls.
Okay, nice.
And you go to my videos. I got videos hunting with my molded calls, cane calls, and a bunch of other stuff. I explain about the calls and all. Good, helpful information.
Nice.
So talking about your calls and the calls you hunt with Dale, if you were to look at your lanyard on this and then every day, what calls do you usually? How many do you run in your lanyard? And what calls from your lineup of calls do you like hunting with, like throughout the season? Do you change it up, or is there a specific?
Well, yeah, I'll hunt with 3 calls or with my moldy calls. I have a gumbo maker, the perfect hen, and I'll have a teal call. Or I usually have 2 duck calls, one high pitch and one little low pitch, because some days they like different sounds that work, when they're hard to work. And I got a gray duck hen. It's a high pitch gray duck. That's all confidence called, that gray duck and that teal. But I throw that in there all the time because that's realistic,
Mm-hmm.
They intermix with each other all the time. But on my cane calls, I mostly hunt like the old people. I have a homemade lanyard. My daddy had a trot line from the 1960s.
Oh, wow.
It's a big cotton rope on it. I use that for my personal lanyard because when I go hunting, it's a strong connection with him. With all our lives growing up fishing that trot line, I made my bars and lanyard with it. They wanted some, and I put 1 or 2 calls with them bamboo calls. What I mean is, years ago, them old people had 1 call mostly with a hard rubber reed cedar soundboard, and I'll go like that hunting. Old school, and that's very meaningful to hunt that way. So I pretty much, when it comes to those cane calls, now I have 5 or 6 in my box with me, but I'll hunt. Some days I hunt a double reed. Most of the time it's that old single reed, just for traditional. I'm a very traditional person, and that's pretty much what I use. I like using all the old stuff that was used years ago. Years ago, 30 years ago, we used to kill a lot of ducks, and I'd bring all these old. I didn't like the food. I had my friends, but my thrill was to go sit with the old people and listen to their stories. And I would bring them ducks, and I brought them ducks until they all passed on, and they'd tell me all these stories. And when they died, the stories is dead. So I started writing all these stories down. And I have a bunch of stories, and I plan to turn that into a book one day. I don't have time now, but I have stories, man. Them old people you talk about was hardships back in the day.
Yeah.
I got stories going back to the early 30s, the duck hunts they made. And one of them, man, sold ducks in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't have no Frigidaire. That's what they called them, Frigidaires. They had wells to drink out of, and they'd put their ducks in the well, and they'd last 4, 5, 6 days. It was cool down there. And when they get a whole bunch, then they'd make a trip to New Orleans and sell them. And just small stories like that. And that's how I grew up. My daddy's old friend sold duck feathers when I was in early 60s, mid 60s. They so fat, they was very poor. Everybody was poor back then. And they kill a lot of ducks. So I do that myself because that's how I was raised. I mean, hearing these stories, and I used to sleep at these people's house when when I was a kid with their kids. So I save all my duck feathers to make pillows, and I'll make my own pillows, and I give them to. I had as much as 30 sacks of feathers at one time. Crawfish. That's 1,200 ducks.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Oh, wow.
And I had them in my storeroom, and my wife was hounding me. So I put it on a market. You can't sell feathers, but you can give them away. I put it on a market bulletin, and a lady was teaching a sewing class with a bunch of girls for a school deal, home ec. I gave her the whole thing. I mailed it to her.
Oh my God.
Nice.
So that's right. So, but I got sacks right now hanging in my shed, but I got 5 sacks, and I'm gonna make my bark pillow this year. It takes a year for them to age, for the germs, the smell. If they bite, I'll wash them. If they clean ducks, I'm not gonna wash them.
Yeah.
They don't need to be, but I just ate. I put them in a crawfish sack. I fluff them up, and just let them sit in there a year. They're ready to go, man. I got a pillow I sleep on now right here. You talk about comfortable.
Oh,
Man,
nice. Man.
Let's get back into it. But so you're talking about the gumbo maker. I know your old 870 has burned on it or displayed on it as your old gumbo maker. But what I find real interesting too, like you're not just even going back into history, with the ducks and the decoys, but you're going back into history where you're hunting with the same shotguns, like like my great grandfather handed out to me with, the Brown 85s, the Winchester 1200s, the old Model 12s, and you went back to some of the old Winchester, was it 1897s. What got you back into hunting with those old shotguns?
Years ago, that was a mine. My dad had a Model 12. I have it now. And we always admired them old guns when I grew up. And I used that gun. It wasn't old in the 70s. I was using his gun a lot. We killed a lot of ducks with it. And as it got old, steel came out, we put it up like all them old shotguns. I have a lot of old shotguns I didn't shoot since that steel. I knew a man that my best friend I hunt with, he bought two 1897s from a fella that he bought from an old man in Lake Pearl. One of them had a hunting license in the butt from 1929. I made a copy of it. I have the copy. I don't have the original. And I have both of those guns here now because I'm using them. Mm. And I just kept looking at it. And when them ball shells came out, I said, you know what? I love them guns with them hammers, man, them old 97s. Mm-hmm. So I took it hunting several years ago. I had issues with one, and I used the other one. And that son of a gun, you talk about, I couldn't believe how I was killing with it. I used that 870 for 27 years in a row without using another gun. And that is my go-to gun. But when I started using this gun, I think my killing ratio went up. It's a 30-inch full choke, but that's what it takes for ball shells. I shoot a number 5, ounce and a quarter, 2 3/4. Huh. I shot some 7s for teal season. Unbelievable. But I love it. It really takes me. My old gun's made in 1915. This year we killed around 600 ducks, me and my boys. It never let me down, never missed a lick, and I made several triples with that gun. Oh yeah, on the wing, and it really goes back in time with them cane calls, my dugout. So it really puts me in an era like they was in 1900. Now what I've done since then, in 1900 era when they sold ducks in New Orleans. They used to ship ducks all over the United States from the local hunters. They used to pack them in wooden barrels with ice and ship them by train all over. When the ice came out in the late 1870s, then the train in the 1890s, 80s, 90s, they came out. So then you could really market hunt. They had a way to get these ducks all over. Yeah. Well, they had these people make these wooden barrels. That's the only way you could ship ducks. You put them in. They used to do it by ice in a slotted barrel. I'm sorry, salt. They salt them down in slotted barrels. Ice was the way to go. The Coopers made these big wooden barrels. They'd ice them down and they'd ship them. I had me a barrel made last year or after the season, and I'm going to start putting my ducks in one of those barrels. Huh. I got Cooper made me a wooden barrel with my name on. I put my name on it, and when I go to the camp, my ducks is gonna go in that wooden barrel, and then when I transport it till I get home, then I'm gonna dehead them, whatever you gotta do, and freeze them. So I'm 100% 1900 era.
Yeah, that's no joke. It's funny, hearing you say that. And you think about now, guys are spending $400 or $500 just on a Yeti itself. Ooh. To put another $2,000 for a shotgun, and it's just amazing. You just sticking to the back to the old roots.
It's like I told my good friend, duck hunting got as big as it's gonna get right now. They can't get like those combines, the 18-wheelers. That's it. That's not the way I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I took a step back, and I'm going the opposite way. And I really enjoy it a whole lot more. I tell you what, we go to the camp. We got a duck camp, and some of the big shots come. They show me them guns, them new guns. I don't care see all that new camouflage. I'm not being ugly, and I'm glad for them. It don't interest me.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I don't like all that. I like the old stuff. A man you give him out a double barrel, he comes back with limited ducks. No, he did something. That's what it's about.
Uh-huh.
That's amazing, man. Hey, Dale, so much of what we talked about so far is just kind of about your heritage and where you come from. I'm curious how you're passing it on to the next generation. Your kids, like how are they hunting? Are they more new school, or are they more to the 1900s style that you've grown accustomed to?
I got 2 boys, and they're very, very good duck hunters. And I taught them the fundamentals, how to look for ducks, how to go about killing them. The wind, it's not just going to a blind killing ducks. And they know all. They're very, very, very good. But they hunt with 870s, old 870s that I got them, because that's what I always shot.
Yeah.
And they don't have no fancy stuff. I guess they don't make cane. Well, I got one of them helping me. But they use my dugout P-Rogues. They use my old stuff, my decoys. They're not into what I'm doing, because I wasn't doing that at 20 years old neither.
Right, yeah.
But I think it's going to really, I see it's really putting a foundation in them. And I think they're going to be glad they was raised in that environment when I'm going,
Yeah.
They got a lot to pick up on them. I mean, I got boats for them already, guns, decoys. But they automatically hunting in that way without even realizing it, what I'm saying. They grew up in that fashion,
Absolutely, yeah. And do they have an affinity for call making or some of the finer craftsmanship that you do?
Well, I have one son, he's helping me. The other son, he probably would, but he works away all week.
Yeah.
But he likes all that. They both like it. Oh, yeah, they love it.
Cool.
And I think it left a big mark on them, or it will, as it goes more.
Yeah, I definitely think that's definitely good as far as leaving a mark. I know stories from my grandfather, and I mean, it leaves a mark for me now from what he grew up doing, and their generation, and they're roughnecking it everywhere, and it's just trying to make a living. So I'm glad to hear that you're actually that we're passing it on. And your boys, I'm pretty sure they're going to go ahead and just pass it on. You have grandkids? You said you did earlier.
Yeah, I got a couple of Yeah, they little though, but
okay,
they got it in them. I could tell by now. But my boys, I've been alligator hunting for 35 years.
Oh, nice.
And they know they come with me. They catch them. I go with them. I mean, but we do as a family. We go sell them. The whole 9 yards. Like last night, we barbecued, and they was talking about why to put a blind and when the wind blows, this is a good spot for. We're always talking about that and trying to. They're very educated. There's different places you can kill duck with different winds, and they picked up good on all that. Most people just go. I know a lot of people, and the wind's wrong way, it's not no good. You got to hunt the winds, what's best for that spot. And there's a lot in duck hunting. It's just not going to a blind. And I learned that with the old people. When I bring them those ducks, they taught me a lot. They was killing 100 ducks a hunt. So they taught me a lot. And and my daddy was a big duck hunter. He had Model 12, a Model 12, old guns, and they used to kill nothing but miles, but he taught me a lot. So I kind of took all that and ran with it and put kind of my own way. But I decided if I'm going to hunt, and I love to hunt, duck hunt by far. It's my favorite. I'm going to do it like the old people did, and that's what I want to do, and that's what I've accomplished. And I love it. I wouldn't want it no other way.
Yeah, absolutely. So, before I actually have one more question. I actually have one more question for you before we wrap this up, because I know Joe and Myers over here, they got a couple questions. But so I have, this is a 2-part question. One, as far as your call lineup, which one is your favorite?
That's a hard question. When I made that gumbo maker,
yeah,
I took my boy. He was in college. He had 2 roommates to come hunt. My daddy used to do this. We went to the camp. We didn't bring nothing to eat. I said, boys, we're going to kill some ducks, and that night we're going to cook them. We're going to make a gumbo. Mm-hmm. Gumbo's big in Louisiana. I love gumbo. So that day we went hunting, and them boys was greenhorns. I did all the calling. I just made that little call. We killed 17 ducks that morning.
All right.
And after the hunt, one of those fellas said, Mr. Dale, what's the name of that call? I said, I don't have a name for it. He said, you ought to call it the gumbo maker. I said, you just named it.
Okay.
So that's how it came about. And they all got names that really happened. That's the perfect hen. 14 ducks landed at least 200 yards from me. I started blowing that perfect hen. I thought it was great ducks. It was a mallard and great ducks. I had a mallard hen swam 200 yards, left them and swam in my decoys with that call. I looked at my little nephew and said, there ain't but one thing to name this call. That's the perfect hen.
Nice.
And that's a true story. So I like the gumbo maker, the mama hen, hunting wars, the old Susie.
Old Susie.
Old
That's
Susie,
a good story.
That's a sangaree duck called that old Susie.
Yeah.
I had a duck right here, a real mallard. One duck left. And when I build calls every day, she'd come answer me on the porch. I said, you know what? I'm going to sit right here and make a call that sounds just like her.
Nice.
I never had a sangaree. It's all double. This is a sangaree call I built. It sounds like her. I took a picture of her, bought it to a shop, and they put it on a sticker, and that goes on that duck call. Her picture. Old Susie.
So
now, when I hunt with my cane calls, I just hunt probably one at a time. Because I don't have a favorite. I'm gonna just tell you now. I use them all.
Yeah.
So I actually, the second part of that is I actually messaged because I went to the Facebook social media and I was about to place my order for a call, and I guess it only gave me an option to send you a message. So I sent you. I don't know who handles their social media, but I sent you a message. And I wanted to buy a call, so that's why I was curious which one's your favorite. So now I'm just gonna buy all of them.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. No, I answer everything. My boy helped me. I have another job just as a hobby. But it became a full-time job. But I might be at work, but I'll answer you back. But I'll do all the answering and everything on it for now. Now, when I retire from my job, I plan to I'll get me a web page and go out a little bit bigger because that's all I'll be doing.
Yeah, nice, and to keep you busy too. Now, I mean, that's basically all I had. Myers, you got anything for Mr. Dale?
I just have one quick question, Dale. I'm the dog guy of the group. I was just wondering, were there any dogs in did you guys hunt with dogs back when you were growing up, or did anybody that you learned from hunt with dogs?
No. There's a little place I hunt where I live called Lake Pearl.
Yeah. Most
of them old people was French, and they sold ducks. And they go to the edge of the water, and they had their pirogues there. And they jump in that pirogue and paddle to that ring.
Yeah.
That's the way I was brought up. My dad, nobody had dogs back then. I don't have no dogs. There's too many alligators where I hunt right now to start with.
Ooh. Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, I mean, some people hunt just for the dog. I have nothing wrong with that. My dog is my pirogue.
Nice.
And in the summertime, I don't have to feed that all year. She sits right there.
It's a little bit easier. I hear you. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. And I enjoy going paddle. I'll bring everybody to the blind. My pirogue is about 200 yards. I'll go back with the big boat, jump in my pirogue, and paddle back. I love it, man. That's part of the hunt for me.
That is cool, man. Very cool.
Joe, did you have anything?
Yeah, for my last one, I know you hunted out of the state this year. I think it was Nebraska. But besides the swamps of central Louisiana, where are some of your other favorite places to hunt?
That's the only place I ever hunted was Kentucky when I went and bring that pirogue, and Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Never hunted nowhere else. I have all the holes I want around my house. We got a good duck camp, or I got my house, and my wife will have a big gumbo or we cook. I have no reason to travel all over, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We got everything I want is an hour from here, 45 minutes. But I plan whenever I do quit, my job, whenever, let me put it this way, whenever I retire, and it won't be that long, I plan to start traveling with these calls and going to different places. I went to Nebraska. I may go make several hunts this year in Mississippi, Arkansas. It's up in the air, and so I'm gonna plan on doing that. But as of now, I don't go too far. I've been hunting the same spot 35 years. We kill 400 to 600 ducks every year. I don't see no reason to go nowhere.
Oh no, yeah, definitely not.
So as far as, and I know you don't, once you retire, is there maybe a specific dream hunt that you may want to do once you retire? Different country, different, I guess.
No,
flyway. No. It just don't matter. You good there?
I'm dream hunting in that dugout every time I get in it.
That's amazing.
Dream
nice.
It's like when I'm in that boat hunting with them old decors, I'm honoring the old people ahead of me that's gone. That's the way I look at it. I'm keeping my heritage alive. I love to hunt Louisiana. Now I hunt all over around Louisiana now.
Yeah.
But
I'll tell you what, if you ever have time, and there's always a spot for you in my rice blind over in Welsh.
Where's that at now?
I have a rice pit out there in Welsh, the Welsh area.
Yeah, no, I might take you up on that.
Yeah, you're always more than welcome on that.
Oh, I got to be there too.
That's not far from here. That's a couple of hours from here.
Yeah,
from where I live.
Yeah, I was just up towards your way the other day, crappie fishing out there in DeVille. I was fishing out of Lardo.
Yeah, Lardo. That's 30 minutes, 30 miles from here. 30 minutes from here.
Usually I'll do a couple hunts over there in Catahoula.
Yeah, I hunt Catahoula too at my bars. Last year we had a real good teal season. And I've been hunting there since I was 15, I guess. I have a lot of memories. I love Catahoula Lake, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely if we can get you down there, that'd be great. Actually, it'd be pretty nice to actually meet you the person. So I don't know, maybe Joe can work something out because he's down there in Louisiana, and me and Myers over here in Texas. So, but
absolutely would be nice.
Yeah, it would. It would absolutely be nice. But as far as you guys are all good. Okay. So as far as Dale, did you have any questions for us before we let you go?
I just want to thank y'all for having me on here, and it's always nice to explain my story. And y'all make some gumbo down there when you go to Welch?
Oh yeah, my wife makes a good gumbo. My wife's a big into the gumbo. She makes a gumbo. Chris had some.
She made some wood duck gumbo. That was really good, really good.
Oh yeah, that wood duck is good.
Yeah.
No, that's about it.
Yeah, I
enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, we
definitely. It was definitely intriguing for me. So we definitely need to get you maybe in the future before season starts. Get you on the show, kind of see where you're at, and with the duck hunt. I did send you a message, so for some duck calls, and I'm gonna one of everything. So,
well, I appreciate it very much.
Hey, no problem. We appreciate you, Dale, for coming on. But before we go, I do want to thank Dale for coming on. I want to thank Bayou Beast and his call making and the history that he's doing, or the heritage that he's keeping and passing along through his kids. Because I'm a big believer in that. We need to do that so that the next generation doesn't forget where we came from. So I want to thank. Yeah. I want to thank Vow and Honor Outdoors for what they do for service members, veterans, first responders. Again, they don't just do hunts. They have kind of what a family advocate programs in such a way, family counseling. They'll take you outdoors, family camps or whatever. So go ahead and get a hold of them. If you can't reach them, you can get a hold of them through flywayconnections.com or our social media. We're gonna, as far as the other Joe, we're definitely gonna try to get him as much as possible, but he's a busy man. He acts like he's working, but he's not. He came from the commission side of the military, so we know he's not working. So, but but like always, y'all have a good one, and let valor not fail.